All right, welcome to the Power of 27. My goal in this video is to basically go through a little kind of PowerPoint presentation that outlines the overall structure and thought process. And then I've created three example lists that we would work from. And we're just going to kind of do a live and an action on how I would set my goals, how I would look at it from a 12-week sprint, and then ultimately, how am I going to take action? Um, the purpose of the Power of 27 is to allow you to take time, identify who you want to become, document who you want to become, and then ultimately have a simple way to start taking action. You know, so many of us have so much going on in our lives. We can be very reactive. We have hopes, we have dreams, but ultimately, how are we going to move towards them? And we all have the same 24 hours in a day. And so, what we have to do is we have to learn how to adjust our time, identify what time will be ours, identify what time we'll spend with friends or family, or work on the things that we want to work on. And if we don't have a documented plan, it's just simply not going to happen. You know, you might be able to limp along and still accomplish some things, but if you're not really, really focused and taking intentional action, you're just not going to become the person that you truly should become. There's lots of studies out there that show that if you have a written down plan, you are going to take more action. You will be more successful. And look, the way I'm going to show it and break it down is just the way I've developed over the years to, that just best works for me. I used to have Excel documents. I used to use planners and notepads and whiteboards. I mean, I've had lists and action plans basically since the beginning of time. And I'm always looking for ways to simplify it and really more or less just keep it with me so I can always be working on it. I found that if I had it in a notebook, maybe I wouldn't go back and look at it as often. Or if it was on my Excel document or my whiteboard would always be at home. I didn't have it with me. And so by using the Apple Reminder app, I'm able to just pull out my phone at any time. It's always on my computer. And I use it from a mechanism to actually just clear my mind of all my thoughts. So if I have a good idea, I write it down in reminders. So I will be reminded of it later. I can organize it in the construct that it needs to be organized in so I can take action on it when I'm ready to take action on it. If you're working a strong list or moving towards goals, you're going to have new thoughts, but you won't be able to take action on them because you're literally in the middle of taking action. And so you need to be able to organize your thoughts. So let's just dive in. I'll show the construct. The idea is to be simple. It can be slightly overwhelming to some people because it's like, well, why do you have to have three lists? Why don't you just have one? And so I'll try to just go through the way I think about it. So that way I can focus on one thing and then ultimately take action off of the main list. So, all right. So the power of 27, the reason it's the power of 27 is we're going to sit down and we are going to mindstorm and we're going to dig deep and write down 27 goals. And that can also be overwhelming for somebody who's never written down a single goal. But the concept is at the surface level, we might have a few initial goals. But what we want to really do is just take the time and just clear our mind to just anything that we can think of that we believe might be a goal that we would like to obtain. We want to get it documented because we want to figure out, well, what excites us the most? The goals that you already thought of in your brain right now could be the big three. Well, those could be like 10-year goals, and it's going to be very overwhelming to get to those goals and accomplish them. And so we want to write down goals that we can accomplish today, next week, next month, 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years, 10 years from now, a lifetime goal. We want to be able to have all types of goals so we can create momentum and start taking action right now towards our goals. So an easy way to actually write down 27 goals is to put them into buckets. And so I've come up with 9 different buckets that you can put goals into. So you can have personal, health, financial, educational, work, projects, travel, charity, and spiritual. And so if you only have to come up with 3 goals per bucket, well, now it's very, very easy. It's just a few goals per subset of your life, and you can start to take action. But there's no rules here, guys. You don't have to have 9. You could have 3 buckets. You can organize this however you want. And ultimately, you could have one bucket with 27 goals in it, or you might have all 9 buckets, but there are no goals in some of the buckets, and some of them are very heavy because it's just what you're currently working on in life right now. So don't feel like that you have to follow any exact construct. The goal is to try to just have an outline that makes it nice and simple. So what we want to do, let's create these 9 buckets. So if you go into the reminders app, this first board here that I'm showing you guys is the Power of 27 board. And so you'll have personal, health, financial, educational, work, projects, travel, boom, boom. Pop them all in, then sit down, put on some good music, maybe like an instrumental or your favorite band, and make a cup of coffee or a tea, and just time block 2 hours and just don't let any distractions come in. And then start to document. And so I've made some examples. Spend more time with family, start a business. Those could be personal goals. Health goals, we're going to start working out. We want to lose 10 pounds. I want to start doing an activity outside. I want to eat better. No processed food. And you just keep going down the list. Financial goals. I'd love to pay off my house one day. I'd like to be completely out of debt. Maybe you want to work towards getting a raise or increase your income in your business. Educational goals. You want to go to college, or you want to take a vocational course, or maybe you just want to start reading a book per month. What are your work goals? Maybe you own a business. You want to get the revenue up to $1 million, or maybe it's $10 million. Maybe those are 2 goals. And over time, you plan to hit 1 million, but you also plan to hit 10 million. You can document those because they're going to work together. And the things that you're going to do are going to help you get to that 10 million. Maybe you need to hire some new team members, or do a new marketing plan. Maybe it's just find a new job. Like you're in a job and you don't like it. You want to find a new job. Whatever that goal is. Project, write a book, play the piano, travel. I want to go to Europe. I want to pay cash for a vacation. Charities, start donating to my church or donate to a holiday event. Contribute to a friend's 5K. Spiritual, maybe you want to go on a spiritual retreat, or just simply just start meditating. So these are just examples of goals that you can document in order to get to your Power of 27 list. All right, so now that we have our Power of 27, what we want to start to do is we want to focus on 12-week sprints. So I recommend the book, The 12-Week Year. It's a construct that teaches you to really think about taking action and thinking about it in these 12-week sprints. So if you document a lot of things that you can do and you start taking massive action, if you don't complete it all, it's okay. You can sit down at the end of 12 weeks. You can recalibrate. You can see what excited you. What did you work on? What didn't you work on? And then you get to recalibrate your goals at the end of 12 weeks. And maybe put focus on the things that you didn't, or maybe you realize the things that you didn't just aren't, it's just not time for those goals. And so they're not going to be on your next 12-week sprint because you've created momentum around other goals and you want to check those off of your list. The problem with setting goals annually, which is what most people do, they have their little list that they do at the New Year's, and then they fail within a couple of weeks. And then they just, I'll just start again next year. And that whole year goes by and we've lost that year to really kind of move the dial. And so the 12-week year teaches you, let's recalibrate, let's see where we're at. And ultimately, it doesn't apply pressure to you that you have to be perfect. It really teaches this cool mantra where if you can complete 80% of the actions that you've determined, 80% movement is so much better than 0. So an example, I work out. My goal is to work out 5 days a week. If I miss a day, then I'm at 80%. Working out 4 days a week is much better than working out 0. And I would probably say I set a goal when I was 40 that when I was 50, that the year of 40, the decade of 40 for me was going to be about health. It was going to be about working out, doing activities outside. And I'm 46 now, and I am a completely different person. And I would say on average, I probably work out 4 days a week because I miss days or I'm traveling. And so, but I don't feel bad that I miss them. I just wake up the next week, get my structure going. At the end of 12 weeks, do I need to pivot or change? So like right now, I'm actually working out 6 days a week. I'm doing 3 days of flexibility, 3 days of weight training, because I really want to make sure that I maintain my ability to stay mobile with all of the activities that I'm doing. So great book. Definitely would give this one a read. Now, what we're going to do for the 12-week sprint, we are going to take a look at our Power of 27 warboard, And then we're going to have our buckets over here on the 12-week sprint, and we're going to go down this list, and we're going to identify the things that we want to work on over the next 12 weeks. So, all right, I want to spend more time with family. I'm going to block weekly time on my calendar to spend time with family. So, me personally, what I do every other Sunday, I drive into town and I go spend time with my mom and dad. Ideally, my brother too, when he's in town, and we do something. We go to the movies, we have dinner. But I put that cycle in place because I realized that, I just wasn't spending enough time. So every other week, that's going to happen. It's on my schedule and my calendar. I habit stack things around that. So when I'm in town, I go see my massage therapist on Monday. I go to the dentist. I go to the chiropractor. I do all of these things on Monday morning after I've gone into town, and then I come back home. Now, the next goal is start a business. Well, maybe you don't want to start a business in the next 12 weeks. And so you can just skip it. Not everything on your Power of 27 list is going to be actionable in the next 12 weeks. And that's not a problem. Health goals, you want to start working out. You want to lose 10 pounds, start an activity outside, eat better, no processed foods. A lot of these things kind of coincide together. So ultimately, well, what can we do in the next 12 weeks? Well, I'm going to start a 3-day workout plan. And I'm going to research the outdoor activity that maybe I want to start doing. So that's going to be my main focus. At the end of this 12-week sprint, I'm going to be working out 3 days a week, and I'm going to know what outdoor activity that I'm going to start doing. Financial goals, pay off my house, get out of debt. Well, I need to build a budget. I don't have a budget. Educational goals, read a book per month. I'm going to pick the next 3 books that I would like to read. Okay, so you can see the trend here. You just go down the list, look at the big macro things that are your life goals, and then identify the things that you want to do. Now, look, the 12-week sprints can go a lot of different ways. I've seen mine pivot and change depending on the season. So I like to do my 12-week sprints based on the seasons, not the quarterly reports of businesses. So I don't do January, February, March. I do, how do mine go? Let me check. So I do, right now it's August. So I do September, October, November. And then I do December, January, February, and then March, April, May, and then June, July, and August. So it's based on the seasons. What I have found is that there are different things available in different seasons. And so I'm going to be much more active outside in the summer because the days are longer. Where in the winter, the days are very, very short. And so my goals and my things are going to change, or how I'll structure my day changes. And I like to set that 12-week plan based on the seasons. Again, you can create whatever 12-week sprint cycle that you want, whatever best fits for you. I love the seasonal 12-week sprint. Now that I have my 12-week sprints, I know when I'm going to do them. I can really attack them differently. So like I was saying before, I've had some 12-week sprints where I had 30 things on there. I was just going to try to conquer the world, and I was moving. I was very energetic. And then I had some where I was, in the winter, I was moving much slower. And so my goals were a lot less, or I set too many goals and I wasn't able to accomplish them. And so I've learned based on the sprint that I might tweak or change, or I might actually just be truly focused on one subset of my life for the next 12 weeks. I don't worry about anything, and I really dominate that section. So let's say working out for you is something that is huge and you really want to conquer it. Don't worry about anything else. The next 12 weeks, work out 5 days a week, change your diet, find a workout partner, do an outdoor activity, just completely revolutionize yourself in 90 days. You will be so immensely surprised in life what you can accomplish in 12 weeks if you literally put focus on it. And it's just moving the way you can change yourself. Like I did a 12-week sprint where there was no TV and no social media for 90 days. You can do anything for 90 days if you set your mind to it. And now I just don't watch as much TV and I don't go on social media as much. I was just stuck in a screen rotation for such a long period of time. I needed to change my habits for 90 days, identify what I liked and what I didn't like. And now that doesn't mean I don't watch TV, but I'm more show-based. I wait for something to come out that I want to watch, and then I'll watch that on a certain schedule that I've time blocked in my ecosystem. Again, I'm very organized. I've learned over the years, I like to be on a schedule because I want to be intentional with my time. Again, maybe not for everybody, but I think as you start to work towards your goals, you actually start to look for time to execute them. Now that we have our 12-week sprint, We don't need to worry about our Power of 27 list anymore. We have taken what we need from this list for the next 12 weeks. And that's why I like the 3 list. I don't want to be overwhelmed by my life goals. I just want to focus on my 12 weeks. All right. There we go. All right. Now I'm going to pull my action list over. All right. Now here's where it gets interesting. We're going to get over to the action list that we really want to focus on. So our action list has got new categories. So it's got I've started, not in my court, today's task, this week, personal, and then it goes into your buckets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my 12-week sprint, and then I'm going to start to create all of the actions that I need to do in order to check these things off of my list. So right here, block time on my calendar to spend time with my family. So I'm going to identify the day of the week I want to spend with family and choose activities to do with the fam. All right, so just right there, I had my ideas. You can see they're at the bottom of my list. I'm going to drag them on up here into personal. And now I'm good to go. So I needed to block that time. So I'm going to identify the day of the week I want to spend time with my family. And then once I do that, I'm going to come up with a list of things that I can do. So dinner, movies, put together a puzzle, whatever it is that you want to do, you're going to identify those things and come into it with a plan with your family. Health, I want to start a 3-day workout plan. I want to research outdoor activities. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and time block my workout schedule. So that's going to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10 a.m. I'm going to pick the gym that I want to go to. I'm going to buy some new workout clothes. I'm going to see if anybody would like to be my workout partner. I'm actually going to go ahead and map out a new meal plan so I feel great while I'm working out. And I'm going to make a list of all the foods that I just simply should not eat. Okay. So as you can see, I had 2 things I wanted to accomplish here, but these are all of the things that I actually need to do to move towards these goals in a healthy way. Financial. I want to build a budget. All right, well, I'm going to read the Dave Ramsey Total Money Makeover, and then I'm going to build a budget. I'm going to add vacation to this budget because down here you can see travel, add vacation to the budget. And then I'm just not going to spend money unless it's absolutely necessary. So I'm not going to get the $5 Starbucks. I'm just going to make my coffee at home, whatever it is, because I'm going to start to budget and learn where I'm wasting my money. Education, I'm going to pick the 3 books that I'm going to read. So over here, create a reading list. So I'm going to create an Excel document of all the books I want to read, or maybe it's just another reminders list. I'm going to add the first 3 books. I'm going to go ahead and purchase the first book, and then I'm going to pick a 30-minute window for three times a week that I'm going to read. So again, 3 actions to check off this action because your macro goal over here is typically going to take multiple things in order to check it off the list. All right, so project, I'm going to time block to research my book. Come over here to project. Oh, whoops, I skipped work. Let's go. Well, let's hit the project real quick. So project, I'm going to habit stack. Okay, so if you haven't read Atomic Habits, I would read that book. It teaches about habit stacking. After I read, I'm going to give myself an additional 30 minutes to make notes. So I've read my book. I'm feeling energized. I've gotten some inspiration. I want to work on my own book. I'm going to start to document. Work, focus on a marketing plan. I'm going to identify the channels I want to market on. I'm going to create a budget for my marketing company or my marketing project, and I'm going to get the first post out the door ASAP. Might just sit there and record a video and post it immediately so I can check this off the list. We want to move and take action on things as quickly as possible. So as you can see, you're just going to continue to go down the list, and you're going to identify every single thing that you need to do in order to check these off of the list. All right, well, now that you've done that, you've got your action list. So you no longer need your 12-week sprint list, and you no longer need your Power 27 list. You are fully in your action list. So you're moving into your 12-week sprint. This is where you're going to focus, and this is what you're going to do. So now what you want to do is you want to start taking action. And so you need to time block. So, real quick, skip this. The War of Art. It is a 1-day read. It is a fantastic book. It teaches you about resistance. Anytime you decide you're going to start to move forward in life and take action, resistance is going to come in and get in your way. things will try to stop you from accomplishing your goals. And it's the universe testing you to see if you've got the gumption to continue to move forward and go through it. That can be people getting in your way, your own thoughts getting in your way, literally traffic getting in your way. There's no telling. Like one time I was going to go kiteboard in the Bahamas. It was why I was down there. I'm on there on the route. My first day, I get a flat tire, super weird. I was nervous too, like going, it was my first day and here I am. I got things getting in my way. But I just changed that tire and hit the road and kept on moving and still had a fantastic day. After you read this book, you'll actually start to recognize resistance. It's almost uniquely strange when you can wire your brain to pay attention to the universe coming after you, and then you just push through, and then things are always going to work out fantastically. All right, so time blocking. Dan Martell, Buy Back Your Time. I'd scoop this book up. It just dives deep into understanding how to buy back your time and pay attention and be intentional with your time. Here's an example of my calendar down here below. You can see it's all color-coded. It's all blocked off. I'm identifying when I'm doing what. When am I eating? When am I working out? When am I commuting? When am I spending time with friends and family? When am I working on projects? So I know what I'm doing. So all I have to do is wake up and follow my calendar and say, okay, well, what's the time block? And when I have task work or project work or family time, I'm coming over to my action list and I'm working off my action list. So what I do is I start my week on Sundays. It's my rest day. I'm typically going to get my weekly massage. I'm going to call my mom. I'm going to, just spend time at home, relaxing and decompressing, and ultimately going to plan my week. And so what I do is I then look at my week and I look for time gaps, or I look for the time that I've blocked off, and I start to move things up in my action list to this week. So if I was going to execute this week, I would move it up, and then I could leave this one here because I'm not going to be able to work on this one this week. I'm going to move this one up. I'm going to go ahead and pick out my gym, and I'm going to get my workout clothes. I'm going to do all of those things before I see if anybody wants to work out with me or work on my food. Then I'm going to go to financial. I'm going to go ahead and read Dave Ramsey. And what that does, that helps me purchase my first book. So if I purchase my first book, and that's Dave Ramsey, I can read that book and start reading it. And when I'm done, I can start to build out my budget. And so I need to execute these things first. I'm not going to work on my marketing this week. I'm not going to focus on working on my own book right now. I'm just going to see if I can actually get into the habit of reading. I am going to research where I want to go on vacation, though, because I would love to get that just, checked off the list. And once I know where I go, then I'm going to build a budget. I'm going to identify, and I'm actually going to time block and start working on donating my time. I don't have any money right now to donate to charity, but I can always donate my time. And I'm 100% going to start meditating in the morning. So I'm going to work on these things this week. So now I can close my buckets. I do not need to worry about anything that is below this week because I've already determined what I am going to do. I don't want any additional distractions. This is what I'm going to focus on. And then what I do Sunday night, I say, all right, well, what am I doing on Monday? And then so I look at my schedule. Monday looks pretty slammed. I'm not going to be able to do much, but I am going to go ahead and I'm going to do these two things tomorrow. Then I close this week. I wake up in the morning. I start to take action with my day. I look at my action list, and then I identify these things and I check them off. When I'm done, I simply just check them off. They go away. And what I like to do is have a little saying in here, all done, you crushed it. Explanations. I love those. I'm going to come in, drop this in to today's task, and it's telling me that I've completed everything that I need to do. And so that way I don't have to worry about feeling this anxiety that I haven't checked everything off of my list. My current action list on it right now has 126 things on it. I'm not going to do those in a week. I have all these reminders coming in, and I'm just constantly organizing the next week. So Monday, all right, it's time to start moving forward. I'm going to drop these things up for Tuesday. Going to work on getting these things done. And then I'm going to close this week. Tuesday, I'm going to start rocking and rolling. Now, maybe I started to purchase this first book, but it hasn't come in yet. So I could drag it up here and say, hey, well, I started this. I haven't gotten the book yet. So I'm just going to drag it up here until I get it. And once I get it, I can then check it off my list. Started Not in My Court is really designed that if you have people helping you do things, like I was setting up my charity, well, I needed my accountant and my attorney to do things. So I would task them to do it, and I would drag it up in there and say, well, I've started it, but it's not done. And it reminded me every week to let them know, hey, you guys haven't finished your task for me yet. I need you to finish it. If you don't do that, they've already forgotten about your task. Your task isn't as important to them as it is to you. And so you want to keep these reminders here so you don't forget about them, and you can continue to nudge people to help them move so you can get your goals done. And then so now I'm going to continue. All right, I picked out my gym. I bought my new workout clothes. I am done for the day. Fantastic day. All right. Tuesday night, I'm going to come back up here and I'm going to say, oh, well, my book came in. So I can check that off the list. And now I'm going to start to read this and get into my cycle of reading in the mornings. And then I researched where I want to go. Let's see. On my vacation, I'm going to drag that up and then I'm going to close this off. So you see the routine. So then what happens that's kind of actually cool is you start to get into this flow state where you're working towards your goals. You have your action list. You don't feel overwhelmed anymore because you're time blocked. You're working on the things in the time that you've determined. And you're going to have all of these thoughts on things that you could be doing. And so maybe you researched where you were going to go on vacation and you decided that you were going to go to Italy. And then a friend of yours said, oh, well, hey, when you're in Italy, you have to go to Florence and check out the Duomo. And so you could say, oh, okay, check out Florence. So you document that, you drag that up to travel, and then you close it up. And then you don't have to worry about that right now. And then you can organize this later because you were out and about and somebody told you about that. Or maybe somebody told you about, oh, you're reading the Dave Ramsey book. Oh, it was such a good book. I would also recommend reading his next book, The Total Business Makeover, right? I just made that up, but I know he's got a business book. So now you document that and you can drag that up into educational. And so you just start documenting. Or maybe somebody asks you, hey, can you shoot me over an email of your new meal plan? Then you just boom. All right, email John meal plan. So every single thing that you're supposed to do, it goes into your list. And then you drag it and you put it into the bucket. Now, let's say you wanted to email John that when you got home or this week. You wouldn't actually put it in a bucket. You'd say, oh, well, I'm going to get that to John this week. I'm going to drag that up and I'm going to drag it into this week's tasks. So that's the great thing about the buckets. If you have an idea and you can't do it this week, you put it in the bucket. If you have to do it this week, you bop it in this week. And if you're going to do it today, you just drag it up in today and it becomes a part of your to-do list for the day. And so you have this running action list that creates this flow state because now everything that you're thinking is out and documented and it's organized in buckets. So all you have to do is work the list. As you're working the list and moving towards your goals, you will have more intelligent thoughts come to you about how to accomplish those goals faster, or ultimately it's just really unique, guys, when you actually just start to have these thoughts coming in, say, oh, well, if I did it like this, then maybe I could function and I would be able to execute this faster. Boom, document. And then you're going to have ideas that, aren't even that great. So you document them and you go back and you're organizing them. You can just delete them. The trick is to keep your mind clear and focused so you can move towards your goals in a very organized fashion. So I know it's a long video, but it's really a simple 1, 2, 3 punch. Sit down, write down your 27 goals, identify your 12-week sprint list, and then write down what you want to accomplish over the next 12 weeks, and then ultimately create your action list, document every single thing that you need to work on over the next 12 weeks in order to accomplish your goals, and focus on that action list. Run for 12 weeks. And at the end of 12 weeks, pull back up your 12-week sprint list, recreate a new one off of your Power 27 list, and then boom, create more action. Your goals are just dreams and hopes without actions, guys. You have to take action. So create your action list, start taking it today, create the momentum, and start moving towards and becoming the person that you want to become. So that's the Power 27 construct. I hope that it is helpful. If you ever need anything, have any questions for me, just let me know. And I hope you have a fantastic day, week, 12-week sprint, and ultimately life. And get out there and crush it. Have a great day.